What is avasthatraya? The three states. What are the three states, in our day-to-day human life? So you don't need to go have some kind of a deep spiritual experience to realize this. Every human being, every living person, Vedanta addresses to them and helps them to understand what is the reality of themselves using their daily experience. What are the daily experiences? Every being experiences three states, minimum three states. Okay, what are these three states? So first is obviously, all of us are in waking state, unless some of you have already gone to sleep now. So this is a waking state. Okay, so we all experience waking state. Okay, and then we experience a state in between waking and sleeping sometimes, what is called as a dreaming state. So where our sukshma sharira or our vasanas are at play. It's just kind of a dance of all our impressions, our desires and fears. So they have taken a life of their own in their dreams, and they become they present a variety of shows in our dreams. And where are these shows? What is the source of this? This is your impressions. This is whatever you are experienced from your waking state, you experience in your dream state, represented in different ways. Okay, it's almost like as though somebody has mixed it all up. We say in our India, right? Khichdi, so you mix everything up and then you make a dish out of it. So that is like how our dreams are. There's no sense, there's no starting, there's no ending, you don't have any sequence. You find yourself in one place, the very next moment you may be in America, you may be in Bangalore, you may be in Himalayas, wherever, there's no sequence to that. But what does it represent? It represents your desires and fears, or your vasanas. And then there is another state, which is a deep sleep state. Now, what he's saying is avasthatraya sakshi. So if he just said all these three states is what is the reality, then there would have been no problem. We can say that, okay, I experience this state and you experience this state. But he uses a very important word here called as sakshi. So what is sakshi is something which we will discuss this also in other class also importantly. Sakshi is that which we call as a witness. A literal translation of sakshi is witness. But it's more than that. It is not just that sakshi is there as a witness and everything is going on. Sakshi is also the reason of all that what is witnessed. If there is no sakshi, then there is nothing to witness. So sakshi, when we say witness, it's kind of helps. It helps us because we know, like like in some case, if there is some case going on against somebody in the law court, they call the witness. So the witness is not somebody who has participated in whatever crime or whatever thing that has happened. He or she has just witnessed it. So in that sense, the witness does not change the course of the events or does not have anything to do with the events. He or she is just a witness to that. So similarly, when all these three states are going on, there is Atma, which is there as a witness. Okay, so now we are saying that that maybe in my dreams, okay, I can feel that I'm witness because I know my dreams. When I wake up, I can remember the dreams. So I must have been there in my dreams and I witnessed my dreams. Okay, but now in my waking state, I don't kind of have a sense that I'm witness, right? How do I get a sense of being a witness in my waking state is, first thing is we can start by thinking of like my own sense of being here, my own sense of talking, my own sense of engaging with somebody or listening to somebody. See, these one is the act of listening. but then you're also aware that you're listening, or you're aware that you're speaking, right? How is this sense of awareness? The sense of awareness is not participating in that action itself. Now, same thing, like if you were to have some thought, and if you were to have some feeling, especially, if you feel good about somebody or something somebody said about you, how do you know that you feel good, or how do you know about it? What is it that makes you aware of it? That has to be, you have to be the witness of it. Somebody or something has to be there who has witnessed this. Okay. And the last thing, an interesting thing, what Vedanta claims is that in your sleep also, when your mind is not functioning, there is also a witness. Now, we might say that I don't remember anything of my sleep, right? I don't know what happened in my sleep. I was not there. I didn't experience my sleep. But how is it that we know we slept? There has to be some way or something that made me aware, because when I wake up, I say I had a good sleep. How did this experience come about that I had a good sleep? It's because I was there, or some sense of awareness was there. So that avastha traya sakshi, that one which was there through all these three states, that is the witness state. That is the sakshi, we say. Okay, and the sakshi, is not like something which is just we, in our Vedantic sense, we use the word sakshi as witness also, but it also has a role to play. If there is, sakshi has a kind of illuminating nature. Just as how we discussed, Maya has a veiling nature, Sakshi or Atma has an illuminating nature. Okay, so because sometimes, we might think like, okay, what's the difference between Maya and Atman, or Maya and Brahman? It must be the same, because we are saying we can't describe Atma. It is not something that is known by the mind. And, Maya cannot be discussed. See, this is where, in our, especially in Advaita Vedantic sense, we can describe Maya as that what is not, but we cannot describe Maya as we describe Atman. We say that Atman is of the nature of illumination. Maya is of the nature of darkness. What it does is it brings darkness. And this Brahman or Atman is one, meaning it is like without second, without any division in it. So that oneness which is there in reality, which is of the nature of illumination, that is being concealed, and it is seemingly made to appear as many. So the difference between Maya and Brahman is, Brahman in that sense is non-dual. We cannot even say one, meaning it is like seamless. It is existing. That what was one, which is seamless, is now made to seem as many. What is this many? Like you, me, and all these different people we are here. We are all many now. But in a sense, it is one. So because of Maya, it has become many. We have become many. So that is that avastha traya sakshi. Okay, and then the last thing that he talks in this sloka is that panchakosha. So I think I had done one class about it. So I will not go much into this. But what he says is, it is distinct from this panchakosha vilakshana. It is different from even these 5 koshas. Okay, so these are, I mean, you can say panchakosha, or what we now said has 3 bodies. It is different from these 3 bodies. Panchakosha, anybody remembers all the 5 panchakosha?
Yeah, Annamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, Anandamaya kosha.
Perfect. Yes, very good. Yeah. So yeah, it's just only thing is the order. First is Annamaya kosha, second is Pranamaya kosha, then comes Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, and Anandamaya kosha. So initially we think that the nature of joy or nature of bliss is what I am, so some way of explaining spirituality to people is the bliss, like how Ananda we talked about. We talked about the highest thing as Ananda. We are all in pursuit of Ananda, right? And so that's why all the monks have their surname, Ananda. So why? Because it's something that can be defined, but it is also the last thing that can be defined. Beyond Ananda, we cannot define anything. So that is why we say everything is of the nature of bliss, meaning the most subtle thing and yet the most pervasive thing in our life. We are all seeking joy of some kind or the other, but yet that joy that we think we want, is not of the joy that can be experienced. So that which is beyond that joy, the Paramananda, that ultimate Ananda, is even beyond any kind of Ananda that is experienced by the physical and subtle body. So even that, what subtle nature of joy or peace, what we say sometimes, that is still like the last veil we are experiencing, even in spiritual life as such. So here, in order to define Atma, we have to go even beyond that subtle nature. So that is why he explains that in Panchakosha Vilakshana. So the next mantra is also the same. We will look at it in the next class. Yo Vijanati Sakalam Jagrit Swapna Sushuptishu. So one who who knows all of this. The Jagrat is waking, Swapna dreaming, Sushupti is a deep sleep. One who experiences of it. Buddhi tad vritti sadbhavana, meaning abhavana. So the presence and absence of even the intellect and the mind, So when I know when I'm thinking, I know I'm thinking. When I'm not thinking, also I'm aware I'm not thinking. So the coming and going of the mind. When I'm feeling something, I know I'm feeling something. When I'm not feeling something, I'm not feeling something. I know that I'm feeling. In fact, this is one of the famous sutras, actually, in a way that Buddha explains, borrowed, I think, from a lot of Upanishads. He says a monk is one by. I used to know that sutra in. But anyway, he explains that Buddha says, what is the nature of a monk? The monk knows when he's thinking of something. When he's thinking a pure thought, he's thinking pure thought. When he's thinking impure thoughts, he's thinking impure thoughts. When he knows that how this thought has risen and how this thought ends. So meaning, like, he's aware through all those three states, he says. So same thing we can say, like I know, like when I'm feeling good, I know I'm feeling good. When I'm feeling not good, whether physically or mentally, I know if I'm feeling not good. So this sense of presence, of being there, of being present through all these experiences, ahamityayam, and that is that I, the source of I, the constant sense of I am, which gives existence to our daily life. So what if you narrow down everything, what about Atma? It is the sense of I am. So in fact, there is a very popular book Nisargadatta Tamaraji wrote, and in that the title of that book is called as I Am That. But even that here is an extra thing that he says was added on, because the real sense of what we are is I am. So that I am, which is constantly there. So now if you think about how do we nail down to this I am, is if you were to sit and contemplate everything that I experience through my mind, my senses, my perceptions and all that, right? If I'm not using my perceptions, if I'm not using my thinking, if I'm not using my intellect, how do I experience myself? What remains? See, if I'm always using my eyes to see, and like you are hearing, right? You're using your perception, your ears, senses. And then you're using your thinking, right, to understand what I'm saying. So now, if you were to think about yourself, how will you think about yourself? Will you use your eyes to see yourself? Even if you say, yeah, I'm seeing myself through the screen or through the mirror or something, that is a reflection of you. That is not really you. What is that real you? You cannot define it through these perceptions of sense perception. And then what is that real? Can you think about myself? Okay, I was this, somebody told me I am this, or somebody says that I am 50, whatever age, I am Indian or whatever. So all that is again intellectual thinking, but it is not the real sense of feeling of who you are. So now abandon both of that. Abandon your perceptions, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. Abandon your thinking. What remains? You will still remain. That sense of I amness will still remain. And that is a very direct way of knowing who you are. So a lot of this modern Advaita teachers, this is how they taught. Like Ramana Maharshi's Who Am I? And Nisargadatta Maharaj, I am, is that you abandon your intellectual thinking, you abandon your thing to know or your sense perceptions. Then try to see what you experience. That sense of I amness is not gone. Just because you're not using your intellect to discern this, that sense of I amness is not gone. It is still there. It still persists. Anyway, okay, so we'll continue this in the next class. And so these are things that you all should contemplate. So this is the heart of this book. This is the essence of this book, because a lot of it is discussing the philosophical aspect. A lot of it is discussing who we are not. Here he goes to the heart of the matter, which is who am I, or what am I? And he's explaining what am I using these supports of 3 states, 5 sheets or 5 coverings, or 3 bodies, we say, all this we are using. And then now he's also thinking about that, what stays through the appearance of intellect and the disappearance of intellect. It still stays. So what is it? Because intellect is the last point where we intellectually recognize ourselves, identify ourselves with. The intellect is the loose form of what we can say is the ego. So now what happens when you go beyond that? You have to drop the intellect to know that what you are. Okay, all right. So I'll maybe just say the closing prayer.